Dangerous Obsession. Chapter 1. A Fire Rekindled. Charlotte had always been a woman of control. At 42, she had built the life she was supposed to, married to a respectable man, living in a beautiful house, and working in a career she once loved. From the outside, everything looked perfect, but perfection was suffocating. Her marriage to David had long lost its passion. They moved like strangers in the same space, polite, distant, predictable. She had memorized every conversation before it happened. Every kiss felt mechanical. Every night was just another reminder that love, once lost, could not be revived. And then, there was him. Liam, 20 years old. Confident, reckless, alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. He was the assistant at the art gallery where she worked, just a part-time employee with no real future there. But from the moment their eyes met, Charlotte felt something dangerous stir inside her. It started as a game, a glance held too long, a casual brush of hands, the electricity of something that should never be. He was too young, too careless, too far removed from her world. But that's what made him irresistible. One evening, after an art exhibition, she found herself alone with him in the dimly lit storage room. He stood too close, his breath warm on her skin as he whispered, "You're not like the others." Her heart pounded. She should have walked away. Instead, she kissed him. And in that moment, everything unraveled. Chapter 2. A Secret That Burns. What began as a single impulsive night quickly spiraled into something consuming. Charlotte and Liam met in secret, her car, cheap motels, anywhere they wouldn't be seen. Every touch, every stolen moment was a rebellion against the life she had built. Liam was addictive. The way he worshipped her, the way he made her feel wanted, alive, like she was something more than just a wife trapped in routine. But secrets have a way of demanding more. David began to notice the changes. "You've been working late a lot," he said one evening, watching her across the dinner table. His voice was calm, but his eyes were calculating. Charlotte forced a smile. "The gallery's been busy." David nodded, but the air between them was heavy. He wasn't a fool. He was watching. And Liam? Liam hated it. "Leave him," he whispered against her skin one night, his hands gripping her waist. "Why do you still pretend with him?" Charlotte shuddered. She wanted to. God, she wanted to. But leaving David wasn't easy. He was powerful, wealthy, and had control over everything in her life. Liam didn't understand that. Or maybe, he just didn't care. Chapter 3. The Breaking Point. David's suspicions grew. He started checking her phone, calling her unexpectedly, arriving at the gallery without notice. One evening, he cornered her. "Who is he?" His voice was low, steady, dangerous. Charlotte's stomach twisted. "There's no one." David stepped closer, his presence suffocating. "You're lying." She held her ground, but inside, she was breaking. That night, she met Liam in a motel, shaking, furious, terrified. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered, burying her face in his chest. "He knows. It's only a matter of time." Liam's jaw clenched. "Then leave. Run away with me." Charlotte pulled back, her heart aching. "It's not that simple." Liam's expression darkened. "Then make it simple." The look in his eyes sent a chill down her spine. She had no idea how far he was willing to go. Chapter 4. The Decision That Changes Everything. David's control tightened. He hired a private investigator. And the moment he saw the photos, everything shattered. Charlotte came home to find him sitting in the dimly lit living room, a glass of whiskey in hand, the envelope on the table. "Is this what you wanted?" His voice was cold. Her breath caught. There was no escape now. "I..." He stood, slamming the glass down. "You disgust me." Charlotte trembled. "David, please." But he wasn't listening. He grabbed her arm hard. And that's when Liam walked in. The moment froze. David's face twisted in rage. What the hell? Liam didn't give him a chance. The first punch landed like thunder. David stumbled. Liam lunged. Charlotte screamed. She should have stopped it. She should have pulled Liam away. But something inside her snapped. As David gasped for air, his eyes filled with shock and betrayal, she realized. She wasn't afraid anymore. She was free. Liam's hands were covered in blood. And Charlotte? She just watched. Chapter 5. No Way Back. The room was silent, except for the sound of David struggling to breathe. Liam stood over him, his chest rising and falling fast, hands covered in blood. His eyes burned with something primal, something Charlotte had never seen before. David let out a weak, gurgling sound, his hand twitching toward his throat, the spot where Liam's last punch had broken something inside him. Charlotte stood frozen, watching her husband die. She should have felt guilt, horror, anything, but all she felt was relief. No more control. No more pretending. No more lies. Just freedom. Liam turned to her, his breathing heavy. "It's done." Charlotte swallowed. No, it wasn't. Because David wasn't dead yet. And if he survived, they were finished. She took a slow step forward, her mind racing. It had to end here. She had to make sure. Without breaking eye contact with Liam, she grabbed the heavy glass whiskey decanter from the table. And with one final swing, she smashed it down against David's skull. Crack. Blood. Silence. And then, nothing. Charlotte let out a shaky breath. Her heart pounded so hard it felt like it would explode. It was over. But now, they had to get away with it. Chapter 6. Cleaning up the blood. The next few hours were a blur. Charlotte moved mechanically, like a woman possessed. She and Liam wrapped the body in sheets, wiped away fingerprints, scrubbed the blood from the wooden floor, but the smell of iron lingered in the air. Everything had to be perfect. Liam was too calm, too in control. It scared her. "This isn't your first time, is it?" she whispered as she watched him clean under his fingernails with David's own knife. Liam just smiled. "No, baby. But it's yours." A chill ran through her. She had thought she was in control, that this affair was her rebellion. But Liam was the one pulling the strings now. And she had just killed her husband for him. Chapter 7. The body disappears. But the fear stays. They got rid of David's body that night. Liam knew a place. A deep lake, hours away from town. Charlotte sat in the passenger seat, staring at the body bag in the back seat, her nails digging into her palms. She had to keep it together. When Liam finally pushed the body into the cold black water, she felt like she could breathe again. It was done. Except it wasn't. Because the next morning, she woke up to a text message. From David's phone. "Envelope with arrow, miss me." Her blood turned to ice. Chapter 8. The investigation begins. David's disappearance made headlines. Respected businessman missing, foul play suspected. Police swarmed their house. Officers questioned Charlotte for hours. Liam told her to stay calm, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "Where were you the night he disappeared, Mrs. Foster?" She swallowed. "At home. Alone." The detective's eyes narrowed. Charlotte could see it in his expression. He didn't believe her. Chapter 9. The texts keep coming. The messages didn't stop. Envelope with arrow. "Did you think you could kill me and get away with it?" Envelope with arrow. "You left a mistake behind." Envelope with arrow. "I'm coming back, Charlotte." She checked David's iCloud account. His phone was offline, but still sending messages. It had to be someone else. Someone who knew what they had done. But who? Chapter 10. The Final Betrayal. Charlotte didn't realize the truth until it was too late. She found the burner phone hidden in Liam's jacket. He had sent the messages. Her heart stopped. She turned to look at him, the man she had thrown everything away for. His smirk was cruel. "You didn't think it'd be this easy, did you?" Liam whispered. Her hands shook. "Why?" "Because, baby." He leaned in, his lips brushing against her ear. "I never wanted you. I just wanted the game." Realization crashed over her like ice water. Liam had never loved her. He had played her, manipulated her, watched her destroy everything for him. And now? He was going to let her take the fall. Chapter 11. Framed for Murder. Charlotte barely had time to react before the police broke down the door. Liam had tipped them off, planted the murder weapon in her closet, made sure she was the perfect suspect. And now, as they shoved her against the wall, cuffs tightening around her wrists, he just watched, smiling, loving every second. As they dragged her out, Charlotte's breath came in shallow, panicked gasps. Liam leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. "You should have known," he said softly. "You're not the first woman I've done this to." Charlotte's vision blurred with rage, with terror. She had killed for him, and now he was letting her take the blame. As the police car pulled away, Charlotte took one last look at him and made a promise. "This isn't over, Liam. One day I'll get out, and when I do, I'll make you pay." Liam just smirked, watching her disappear into the night, because he knew something she didn't. Charlotte was never getting out. Final reflection. A love that became a nightmare. Dangerous obsession, started as forbidden passion, but ended in betrayal, blood, and ruin. Charlotte thought she had found a new life. But in reality, she had been Liam's game all along. And now, she was paying the ultimate price.